Okay then, so we are now left with a bare engine. As you can see, everything has been stripped externally. Now it's time to get that rocker cover off and see what we find. And now the rocker cover is just held in by a bunch of regular 10mm bolts, so we'll remove those. I don't know if these are reusable bolts, but somebody has reused them because this is not the original rocker cover. There's 2 bolts in the middle to remove as well. Now the rocker cover should lift off. Lift off. So it looks like somebody has actually sealed this correctly. Small blob of silicone on the edges here so it don't leak out. Yeah, this is just a Chinese copy, I think. D2P. Yeah, this is. I'm going to be replacing this with an L-ring one, a proper one, not a Chinese one. That's that off anyway. Okay then, so first look inside of the engine. Everything looks pretty clean, to be honest. This engine did supposedly have very regular oil changes, like every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, and by the looks of this, that would ring true, because you know, nothing is really heavily varnished, which would be the case if you have extended oil changes. The timing chain still looks good. Timing chain guide looks to still be in one piece. I know they tend to break at the top here, but that all still looks fine. Saying that, is that a hairline crack? Don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. Is that a crack there? Looks like one there, and then a couple of cracks there. Don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. But yeah, I think this is actually quite close to failing, this guide, which it is a common problem, which obviously needs to be replaced every so often. But yeah, I guess the previous owner got lucky with regards to this, because that was probably not actually far away from failing. Now then, of course, I will be stripping down the head completely, but I'm not going to do that today. I just want to get the head off and see what the cylinders look like. So I think what I'm going to do, because I can actually access all of the head bolts, it's pretty good design, you don't need to remove the cams or anything, they're all just E-Torx head bolts. So I think what I'll do is just remove this top guide here, remove the tensioner, and then I can take the camshaft sprockets off, drop the chain down, and then the head can come off. Okay, it's the top guide off. Chain seems to be under proper tension still. Let's get that crack loose. Just going to remove this Vanoff solenoid out of the way, just so I can properly get onto that tensioner. Is that removed? There we are. Okay, so now that the tensioner is removed, the timing chain is nice and loose. Now, of course, we need to remove the camshaft sprockets, but we need to find a way of locking the camshafts. Obviously, if we just get a breaker bar on here, the camshafts will just want to turn. So I'm either going to hold a wrench or spanner on here, I think it's like a 27 or 28 mil, hold that there and then try and crack them loose with the other hand, or just get my dad to try and hold it. Or what I'm going to do is try and lock the crankshaft somehow, and again just try and crack those bolts loose, because I don't want to use an impact wrench. Probably not best to use an impact wrench. You know, you could possibly end up damaging the camshafts, or you could end up rounding these bolts. So yeah, I want to try and crack them loose by hand if I can. Oh, also got the dipstick tube and the dipstick itself removed as well, just held in by a 8mm bolt. Are you ready? Just go down there. This guide's actually broken. I did actually notice that was on the other part of the guide. There was like some hairline cracks in them. Okay, so with the timing chain guide out of the way and the timing chain just dropped down there into the block, it's time to release all of the head bolts. So there is just two smaller bolts here. They take an E10 socket, and then there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 normal head bolts. Just going to crack these smaller two ones first. I'll start in the middle and then work my way out. Okay, so with all of the head bolts out, the head should be ready to come off. No, there's still one more on the outside. It's not very tight anyway, that one. So now the head should lift off. Okay, so first look at the block. Everything seems to look okay in terms of the pistons. But looking into cylinder number 3, I think this is, I can see the damage that was described by the seller. I have a few marks up here, but you cannot feel them with your finger, and I think this may come out with a rehone. You can still see all of the cross hatching in every single cylinder, so I think this block may be reusable. Now moving on to the head, as soon as we flipped it over, this is what we noticed. You can see huge chunk missing out of this exhaust valve here. That's obviously been burnt, and this one is probably not too far behind it as well. You can see this cylinder is very wet, the rest are pretty much fine, but probably going to need 2 exhaust valves there.